Good evening, Lake Orion. Well, it's been a long week. Nice week, long week. I'm your host, and I am Between Taorminas.
This is not Bob Bridges' fault I'm losing.
Yes, indeed, this is Between
It's
Taorminas
not
here on
Bob Bridges'
ONTV.
fault. I'm losing games because of that man. My Spartans lost. The Lions lost. It's all because of Bob Bridges.
So, can I get to what I was saying first before you go into your grievances? Okay. For those of you guys wondering where Ian Weatherspoon is this evening, Ian Weatherspoon, ladies and gentlemen, has been put on probation for his continued missings of our show Between Taorminas. So as of right now, Ian Weatherspoon is on probation, and it seems like for right now, until time is right, you guys will not be seeing Ian Weatherspoon on air, unfortunately. I know, it's tough, but right now, we just got to get some things resolved, and right now, Ian's on probation. And for those of you guys wondering about why Sammy is upset because his fantasy football team is in the ONTV League, which I encourage you to watch the ONTV Fantasy Football Show, which is on ONTV. My brother stands at 0-3 right now, and he is not very happy about this. And in this case, he lost to the boss, Ian Locke, who did not, for some strange reason, play his defense. So that's embarrassing for Sam.
I blame Bob Bridges for this.
Why is that? Why is that?
He can't. He motivated Ian Locke to not play his defense against me, and I lost.
Not everybody lost this week.
Quiet. I'm 3-0 my other 2 leagues, so I'm fine.
Not everybody lost. So you're okay in your 2 other leagues. It's just this league, you're 0-3.
No comment.
Let's talk about something wonderful that happened on Friday night. The Dragons went to Southfield Arts and Tech and won. They won 21-14. Very exciting game. The Dragons took control early on and was able to hold on at the end, including a goal line stand. What's your take on that?
Good win for him. Southfield Arts and Tech had a lot of expectations coming in to the year. This is a team that's a very good team. I do have concerns about their offensive line. I did have some questions about Sam Johnson III's quarterback ability. He sent a really interesting tweet that kind of motivated the Dragons and gave them that win.
Well, the tweet was motivating, but it didn't give them a win.
No, it didn't give them a win. I just thought Lake Orion was the better team in that game. And, especially early in the game, of course, you could tell the defense finally showed up and played well for a change. You know what I mean? It was a good way. It felt like traditional back to old style Lake Orion football.
Do you think, too, that the Dragons really prepared for this game? And a lot of people were saying that the Dragons were counting them out, that they weren't going to win this game. Do you think that played a role? And also, do you think that Southfield Arts and Tech might not have prepared for the Dragons the way that, say, West Bloomfield and Oxford, or Troy Athens?
Well, then again, all that falls on Tim Conley, of course, their head coach. I really believe...
Not all of it. You would like to think...
I really believe that Southfield Arts and Tech, you do make a good point that I didn't think they prepared well for Orion at all. I watched them film on that Clarkson game before on my podcast, and I looked at this team. Southfield Arts and Tech technically should be a 1-4 team than a 2-3 team right now. I mean, and it's because you look at this team. Their offensive line is not very good. Their defensive line they had some missed tackles. They're not disciplined. And, this was, I would say, more of the Dragons taking this game than about the Warriors. But the Warriors' mishaps, kind of
It seemed like the better coached team won and the better disciplined team won.
That's what happened here.
You got to give the Dragons a lot of credit for keeping their cool in those types of situations. Especially, you notice that a lot of Southfield players were taunting. One case was punched a player.
Yep.
And to the Dragons' credit, they didn't retaliate and let the penalty flags go against the Warriors, and it was a lot of personal fouls.
Well, that's the thing. They had about 5 personal fouls in that game. I mean, but when you look at that game, it tells you about the discipline. It tells you that, Lake Orion, this is a team that really, early in the year, injury-prone team. Of course, that West Bloomfield game, we kind of got to give them a pass there in that one. But I'm saying right now that it would not surprise me. This team is going to keep getting better going forward, and they're in a good spot right now. But they got to keep winning games.
Mm-hmm. Do you think too that possibly maybe the coaching staff could have prepared, but the players were kind of taking Orion lightly, or do you think maybe the impacts of what had been going on at Southfield, especially with the awful tragedies of the 4 children, particularly Kara Allen, who was a senior at the school? Do you think that might have played a role?
It played some role. I mean, I didn't think it played a ton of role, but I'm just saying right now.
The emotions might not have been there.
The emotions might not have been there, but I'm just saying right now, the passing of Kara Allen, of course, it played a role, but when you prepare for a game like this against Orion, when you prepare for a game like this against a team that's physical and all that,
like Orion,
you gotta be ready to go. You gotta be mentally there, And I don't think the Warriors players were there all the way, because I know that it's hard when you have to deal with the passing, but this team has experience having to deal with this,
right.
And you kind of want to say it's no excuse, because this team's had experience dealing with grief, dealing with this.
Well, one thing that's I want to bring that up a little bit is our cheerleaders, the Dragons cheerleaders, did a tremendous job honoring her memory, giving the Southfield cheerleaders flowers, and a great act of sportsmanship by our cheerleaders. And what's your take about that? She was.
It was good. The girls, the cheerleaders wore pink, pink ribbons, pink socks.
Out of respect for
her favorite color. Her favorite color is pink. Southfield Arts and Tech fans wore pink shirts. Wanted to make it a pink out. I think they did a very good job in doing that. I think that, when you look at it here, it's sad that somebody lost their life.
4 children.
4 children lost their lives.
4 children.
And one of them was
senseless act.
It was a senseless act, and now that guy, the stepfather's facing murder charges.
He deserves to go to jail.
He deserves
a rot.
He deserves a life sentence. And you look at what happened here. I know Southfield Arts and Tech had a lot of motivation, had a lot of grief, but the question's going to be now is how do they respond? We know about Orion now. But the question is going to be how will Southfield Arts and Tech respond, because they got a very tough game coming up Friday against West Bloomfield. Yeah. So that's going to be a very dangerous game.
Speaking of the Dragons, they're at Troy Athens on Friday. The Red Hawks beat the Dragons last year 21-14, and the Dragons were personally embarrassed.
It was humiliating last year.
They were, especially the line. Joey Stark, their quarterback, went off.
It was humiliating last year, because here's why. Because that 69-yard touchdown play basically described the epitome of it. It was 3rd and 28. If that game would have went overtime, I still would have thought Orion would have won that game. But here's the thing: when you look at that game, Troy Athens seriously dominated that game.
Yes,
they dominated up front.
The second half,
they controlled the game the second half, and it was really a Troy Athens type of game. This team. That game last year should have every attention of every Dragon right now, because I'm telling you right now, if you don't show up ready to play, if you don't execute, that's going to happen to you. And that's what happened last year against Troy Athens. Now, Troy Athens this year's had a rough start. Lost to Warren Mott. They were destroyed by Warren Mott, destroyed by Clarkson. They were shocked by Stony Creek. You know, I mean, this is the only competitive game they've been in, and I'll be honest with you, it's that game with North Farmington, and North Farmington's just 0-5. And they won that game by a touchdown.
So, obviously, very important. Their Stark is back, their quarterback's back, but also their line, their offensive line, their defensive line. That's your strength of that team. Mm-hmm. So every team you've seen has. So it's going to be a test because I think Athens is a deceptive 1-4. Well, it's also their homecoming, and they got nothing to lose.
They got nothing to lose.
That's the biggest fear, is you're playing a team that has nothing to lose.
Right. I think Orion wins this game because I believe that motivation's there. I think they're going to execute, and I expect Orion's passing game to show up in this game. Now, Orion did not show up in their passing game against South Arts Tech. Didn't really need to in that game, but I think the passing game shows up this week against the Redhawks.
I do think the Dragons will win too. As you said, the motivation is there, obviously from last year. Obviously, the biggest fear is you're playing a team with nothing to lose, and you're playing a team that has beaten you before and knows that they can beat you again.
Right.
And so it'll be very interesting to see
if they can contain Stark in that line. I think they're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Offensive line's key this week.
I agree.
Offensive line's key this week.
I agree. That offensive line is going to be very, very key. Any final thoughts on the Dragons?
When you look at this team, you know, long way to go with this team. Long way to go.
Well, volleyball and soccer both have got big wars.
V-ball's got big one with Clarkston.
Yep. All right. We'll be right back with Between Taorminas on ONTV.
Hello, I'm Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard.
And I'm former Detroit Red Wing Joe Koster.
We'd like to remind you to practice safe boating by knowing the laws regarding water safety.
Please make sure you have the necessary safety equipment on board and be sure all of your equipment is working properly before leaving the dock.
And the probability of being involved in a boating accident nearly doubles when alcohol is involved. Always check local weather conditions, and if you notice darkening clouds, play it safe. Get off the water. Have a safe, enjoyable summer on the lake.
When I'm in Lake Orion and I want to catch up on sports, I watch Between Taorminas.
We own a Habitat home.
I love working on my Habitat home.
Soy dueño de una casa de Habitat.
My neighbor is a Habitat homeowner.
Being a Habitat homeowner has changed our lives.
My mortgage payment for Habitat is less than what I pay for rent.
Habitat for Humanity of Oakland County currently has homes available with mortgage payments lower than most rent payments. If you or someone you know needs decent and affordable housing, call 248-338-1843 or visit our website at habitatoakland.org.
Welcome back to Between Taorminas here on ONTV. Sammy, how you doing?
Hanging in there.
We've got a lot of sad news in the sports world. I want to talk about first the loss of, in the baseball world, the loss of Jose Fernandez, the Miami Marlins ace who lost his life in a boating accident along with two other of his friends. Jose Fernandez was 24 years old, and his story coming from Cuba to the United States, he tried 4 times, was successful on his 4th. Rescued his mom from the waves of the ocean. What's your take on Jose Fernandez?
I have my fantasy team. You know, great pitcher, great man. Had his whole life ahead of him. You know, first of all, I don't understand why he would go on a boat trip at 1 in the morning when it stormed earlier in the day.
And the waves were not.
Great. But I'm saying right now is this is an unfortunate situation, unfortunate circumstance what happened. And it was just Jose Fernandez wanted to go on a boat ride, you know? He felt, I don't know if drinking was involved in this case.
They're indicating that it was not. They're indicating that alcohol that alcohol did not play a factor, that it was a case of they were going really fast, really the maximum amount you can go on a boat, and it hit a rock, It hit that rock area where, where if you're by a marina, I mean, it hit that, and unfortunately it tipped over, and unfortunately they lost their lives. Fernandez and one of the other victims died on the boat. The other one went overboard, was found in the water. It was
sad. This one's sad. I mean, because when you look at what happened, it was unfortunate what happened to Jose Fernandez. It was a tough loss. It was tough to grieve. You know what I mean? I know the Miami Marlins community is really hurt by this.
The Major League Baseball community,
even baseball,
because
Major League
you
Baseball
look at what
he was a great ambassador, not only to the Marlins but to the game itself, and even the Cuban American community. And it's unfortunate. It's sad to see him go. So soon in his life. He had his full life ahead of him.
He had a fiancée. Who was pregnant. Fiancée was pregnant with his child, and
he won't get to see him.
His mother and his grandmother. I mean, you just got to feel for them.
Yeah, I feel for him. It's rough.
I mean, you see what players have done. David Ortiz.
Right, the baseball caps the Marlins did yesterday. Left them out there.
Yes, he left the baseball caps out.
I've been hearing
the New York Mets did an amazing tribute for him too, as did the Padres. The several players were tweeting it, and they've wore numbers or JF16 in tribute to him. There's no denying the impact that he has done for the game.
It is.
And the Marlins are going to retire his number.
That's a good thing. The Marlins are going to retire his number.
Do you think Major League Baseball should do an award in his honor?
I think they should. A Good Samaritan Award would be a good thing for him in his honor. The Jose Fernandez Award makes a lot of sense because here's a guy that was really a good citizen. And
he smiled all the time.
All the time. He loved playing the game. He loved
being around the game.
He loved being
saw
around
his conversations with Barry Bonds. It was I mean,
he loves
for anyone that for you to go out there and impact so many lives in such a positive way, and to see them go so soon,
it's terrible.
It's tough.
We had another guy that passed away too.
Arnold Palmer. The great Arnold Palmer, arguably one of the best golfers in history. He lost his life over the weekend, too, of natural causes.
Yeah. You should do a History Now tribute to Arnold Palmer. I mean, he was one of the greatest golfers of all time. He had a classic name after him, the Arnold Palmer Memorial. Of course, Tiger Woods idolized him.
As so many golfers did.
Many golfers have idolized him. But when you look at it from perspective, he left his legacy in golf, and Arnold Palmer was a great influence to the game.
He's a great ambassador, and will always will be. Some of his wins were unbelievable, just the way that he approached the game, and was an influence for not just Tiger Woods, but so many young golfers we see today. Golf would not be where it is without Arnold Palmer.
Yeah,
and
there are a lot of other ones, but Arnold Palmer, I remember the day he retired from pro golf, you know what I mean, back in 1994. It was that whole mess where you had a lot of sports going around that day. We had the World Cup, the O.J. Simpson things, and then all that. Yeah. I mean, like it was truly the end of an era.
No doubt about that.
Arnold Palmer.
But he handled it with class. He did participate in several senior opens.
Yep. But you know what? Arnold Palmer did everything right for the game of golf.
Yes, he did. Rest in peace, Jose Fernandez. Rest in peace, Arnold Palmer. We'll be right back with Between Taorminas on ON TV.
Hello, Oakland County. This is Sammy Taormina talking OA Now. In it, we'll talk various stories ranging from the state to Oakland County teams affecting the OAA. Catch us here on OA Now.
Hello, Lake Orion. It's Anthony Taormina, co-host of Between Taorminas. I want to let you know of a new show called History Now. In it, we're going to talk about global, national, and political events that occur in our lifetime. We're going to also have guests and also have co-hosts as well, and also plenty of surprises. Catch us on History Now here on ONTV. Welcome back to Between Taorminas here on ONTV. Sammy, you had a rough sports week.
It's all Bob Bridges' fault.
Why?
I'm telling you right now, it's all his fault.
Why? What did
Because my Spartans got beat by Wisconsin, and Corporate M blew out Penn State.
So, but yeah, Michigan, but Wisconsin's a lot better than they look, you know? So,
He did not fare well. And Bob Bridges says my Spartans are terrible. They're not terrible. They just had one bad week. And Corporate M's going to pay the price when Wisconsin beats them this week.
In Ann Arbor?
Yes, in Ann Arbor.
So you think Wisconsin's going to beat Michigan, just like they beat Michigan State?
I don't talk about it. I try not to forget about it.
You try to forget about it?
I try to forget about it.
What would Bob Bridges say to you?
This is what Bob Bridges go like. He'd go like, I will!
I think you're crazy.
But I'm telling you right now, Michigan State is going to beat Michigan this year in college football.
You think it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen?
And I'm telling you right now, Bob Bridges is going to bow down before me.
That will never happen, ladies and gentlemen.
That will happen. You just watch. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not pressing the panic button on Michigan State. Remember, Michigan State had one loss, ran the table. Michigan State's fine. Okay? They're fine. I'm not pressing the panic button yet.
Wisconsin's not in the division.
No, they got Indiana this week.
That'll be that's a night game.
Yes, and it could be a high-scoring affair.
Yes, it could. Now, do you think that so you think Wisconsin's going to beat Michigan?
Yes.
Why?
Because Wisconsin can play that pound the ground attack against Michigan and Jabril Peppers, I believe. I don't think Jabril Peppers will have an impact in this game because Wisconsin just does not run the ball. I mean, Wisconsin just doesn't throw the ball. They run it. You know what I mean? They just
typical
run the
power
ball.
football.
Typical power football. I think Wisconsin's going to run the ball down Michigan's throat and Rashawn Gary. If you really think about it, Rashawn Gary's okay. He's not great. But I'm telling you right now, Michigan's going to have trouble with Wisconsin. I was shocked about Michigan State, you know.
Yes.
I was really shocked. I was really disappointed with how Michigan State played.
So let's talk about the Tigers now. What do you think Ian Weatherspoon's going like right now?
Woo! Cleveland Indians! Central Division champions! Woo! Yay! Yay! The Cleveland Indians won the AL Central! Yay!
So you think Ian's going like that?
I'm not gonna make the playoffs, and I'm gonna owe Sammy Taormina a dinner. That's Ian Weatherspoon right now.
You think that's Ian Weatherspoon right now?
Yep.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. And the sad thing about it is, you might be right.
Because it's over for the Tigers. They're two back. They're not going to catch Cleveland. I think Cleveland wins these next two games, and the Tigers go out the Atlanta Braves. And I'm telling you right now, the Atlanta Braves, don't sleep on them. They're a good team, even though they've had a rough year. But they still got players. And, of course, we know with the Tigers, they're going to have some trouble. And, of course, if Brad Ausmus doesn't get fired, which I expect he will get fired, I think that the Tigers need to make a move now.
So you think the Tigers have no chance of making the wild card?
None.
So you think it's done?
It's done. They've had their chance, wasted their chance. They're done. They're done.
So you think the AL playoffs are set?
Yes.
So you got Toronto and Baltimore making it in the wild card?
I think Baltimore will make it, and I think Toronto will make it too. I just think when you look at the situation I just think I don't know how Baltimore can catch the I don't know if Baltimore can the schedule's very favorable for the Orioles. I really think so. And the Tigers, they've blown their chance already.
So you think the Tigers are done?
Yes. And then we got another team.
The Lions.
Yep.
They lost to the Packers.
34-27.
Well, I got to give the Lions credit for at least fighting back.
They fought. You know,
they did fight.
Marvin Jones Jr. had 204 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. You know, Marvin Jones is a good player. Very good player.
Give him credit. Give the Lions credit.
I give them a lot of credit, with the exception their defense was the reason why they lost in the first place.
Well, yeah, they gave up like 21 points in the first half.
You know, and it also hurt with my fantasy team because I had to deal with Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson because they both got a combined 58 points against me.
Yeesh.
You know?
So are you not happy over are the Lions are considered SOL, Save Our Lions, or no?
Same old Lions? Yes, they are. Because, but you are right. They do need a new method here that says SOL. That means Save Our Lions.
But right now it's Same Our Lions. Same old Lions.
It's same old Lions right now, but you can also say Save Our Lions. Somebody else has got to get fired right now. I mean, you've already made changes in the executive offices. You've made changes in the general manager's position.
Next is the head coach.
Next is the head coach, which is Jim Caldwell's job. I think he's going to get fired at the end of the year, or maybe even at the end of the month. And I think you're going to see a New England Patriots guy come in here and take over this franchise. And of course, I think the Lions need to start all over, blow it up, change everything on this team.
Dang.
Maybe you name Jim Bob Cooter the head coach.
No, why would you name a convicted felon a head coach?
I know, but Jim Bob Cooter is very interesting. Even, yes, he is a convicted felon, but he does make a good football coach.
And they hired convicted felons as their coach. Ian Weatherspoon will be so happy about that one.
Yeah, but Ian Weatherspoon's going like, yay! Woo!
That'll do it for this week's episode of Between
Cleveland Rocks! Cleveland Rocks! Yay!